G'day legends, welcome back to the channel where we cut through the political BS with a cold one and a chuckle. Today we're diving into the great Australian political cage match, why the media, Labour and the Liberals are all teaming up to tag team Pauline Hanson and One Nation like it's the main event at WrestleMania. Is it because they're dangerous extremists? Or is it because they're saying the quiet part out loud that a lot of Aussies are thinking while staring at their skyrocketing rent and empty grocery shelves? We're keeping it light-hearted, fair income, truthful, no tinfoil hats, just facts, a few laughs, and zero sugar-coating. Grab a drink, settle in, this one's gonna be a ripper. Let's go! First, a quick rewind for the young ones, or for those who skipped the 90s. Pauline Hanson burst into the scene in 1996 as a Liberal candidate who got disendorsed for saying stuff like, "We're getting swamped by Asians," and questioning special Indigenous programs. She won anyway as an independent, founded One Nation, and boom! Instant controversial machine. Fast forward to 2026 and they're surging in the polls after the massive Farrier by-election win. Some polls have them hitting 25 to 32% of the primary vote. That's not fringe anymore, mates. That's shaking the two-party system like a faulty heels hoist in a cyclone, according to Pauline Hanson's ex-post. Why the attacks? Simple. One Nation's core gig is putting Australians first. Their hardline on immigration numbers, ditching multiculturalism for assimilation, questioning endless Indigenous spending without results, sceptical on net zero costs and calling out what they see as elite nonsense. They want lower migration to ease housing and infrastructure pressure, protect Aussie jobs and preserve what they call one culture under one flag. Labour and the Liberals. They've been running the Uni-Party show for decades on big immigration, global agreements and progressive social policies. One Nation's rise splits the Conservative vote and forces the majors to actually talk about voter pain points instead of dodging them, according to Wikipedia, although I would take that with a grain of salt. Imagine you're at a barbecue. Everyone's complaining about the rent, traffic, and how everything is getting more expensive and crowded. Then Pauline rocks up with a meat tray and says, "Yeah, maybe we should slow the intake a bit so we can actually house everyone." The media piles on because, well, most big outlets lean left or establishment. The ABC and Guardian have been relentless. They call One Nation far-right, Trumpetarian, and paint them as a threat to democracy for banning biased journalists from presses and telling a Guardian reporter to shut up. Cheeky. Sure. But when the ABC gets the boot, suddenly it's free speech crisis for them. The same mob that many Aussies reckon is taxpayer-funded and left-leaning. I'm not saying One Nation is perfect. They've had their fair share of internal drama, scandals and colourful characters. But the attacks feel coordinated because they threaten the comfortable consensus. Liberals attack them to stop bleeding Conservative voters. Labour attacks to keep the right divided. Media gets clicks from outrage, according to the Financial Review article. So, who's winning from all this pile-on? Winners. The big party establishment. They keep preferencing each other over One Nation in elections, maintaining their duopoly. Big businesses and industries that love cheap labour and high migration. Think construction, education exports, supermarkets, stay happy. Globalist types and the inner city elites get to feel virtuous about the multiculturalism while living in nice suburbs. Media outlets get endless threats to democracy stories. Losers. Everyday Aussies, especially in the outer suburbs and regions. Skyrocketing house prices, hospital queues, school overcrowding, wage suppression in some sectors, and cultural tensions when integration fails. Cost of living crisis hits harder when populations grow faster than infrastructure, young people locked out of homes, regional towns feel the strain. One Nation taps into the genuine grievance. Post-Bondi attacks and ongoing economic pain, more voters are saying enough on unchecked immigration, according to the Conversation article. What does it mean for the future of Australians? If the attacks succeed and One Nation stays marginalised, we keep the status quo. High migration, we've blown past 27 million people quick smart, strained services, more debates over identity, and politicians ignoring the kitchen table issues. Housing affordability stays a joke. Trust in democracy keeps tanking, already about 30% satisfied. If One Nation forces change, potentially tighter borders, focuses on assimilation, more scrutiny on spending, and policies that prioritise citizens, could ease pressures, boost wages in low-skilled areas, and reduce social friction. But it risks economic hits if migration drops too far. But we do need skilled workers. Truth is, no party's got a magic wand, but ignoring voter concerns breeds bigger problems, like we've seen overseas with the populist backlashes, according to One Nation's immigration reform. Are the governments doing everything to ensure their measures are fair? Mate, pull the other one. Labour and Liberals preference each other against One Nation, even when One Nation aligns more with the Conservatives voters on key issues. They call for unity while labelling dissenters as threats. Media often frames One Nation stories negatively, while softer on major party failures. Why? Self-preservation. Admitting One Nation has valid points on migration overload or failed multiculturalism experiments would mean admitting decades of policy missteps. It's easier to shout racist or far right than fix housing, infrastructure, or integration problems. Fairness would mean open debate, policy competition based on results, not smears. And we're not getting there. We're getting the protection racket for the uni party, according to the Australian Institute Research That Matters article. Look, Australia's a bloody great country because we absorbed people from everywhere while keeping that laid back, fair go spirit. But when that fair go spirit goes one way, people get jack of it. One Nation's not the devil. They're a symptom of real frustrations. The majors and the media attacking them right now win short term, but ignoring the losers in the story, working families, young Aussies, battlers, risks bigger cracks down the track. So what do you reckon? Is One Nation the solution, the problem, or just the messenger? Drop your thoughts below. Respectfully, no flame wars. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for more no BS political chats. Thanks for watching, legends. Stay truthful, stay light-hearted, and keep putting Australia first in your own way. See you next time.